Anil Antony, let me start with you. The claim by the left and by the Congress also in Kerala is these were omitted portions, these are part of history textbooks and have been taught to our children for generations together, and it's the BJP and the NCERT under this dispensation which deliberately dropped those portions, whether it was the assassination of Mahatma Gandhi, whether it was the 2002 Gujarat riots. Thereby, you are the ones who are playing with history and history textbooks and with the knowledge being imparted to our children. The left government in Kerala is simply bringing back history as it was taught.
Thank you, Mr. Jacob, for having me in the show. So each passing day, it is becoming more and more clear that there is not much difference between the left front and the Congress in Kerala as far as any national issue is concerned. Ever since independence, this is something which we need to note, and that is ever since independence, there had been this large set of left-leaning as well as Marxist historians and academics who over a period of time started dominating and monopolizing every single academic institution and university across the country, and they started teaching lessons which were very aligned to which were very biased and aligned to certain ideological leanings. And even before that, you had the 200 years of colonization, where again the British were also doing the same thing. And the one thing that was common between both of them was that both these, the British and these leftist Marxist historians, they started putting India's cultural civilizational culture, heritage and values under the carpet so that they can divide our communities, our people based on religion, and they could divide and rule. They can, let's say, take forward their rule. So this was happening for a long time. Now in 2014, when Narendra Modi ji became the Prime Minister, along with the unprecedented growth that this country started having, something else that started happening is that we started reclaiming our old cultural past. We started reclaiming our civilizational culture, heritage, values. And that started showing in many areas, including education, including changes in NCERT, where at one side you have the national education policy, which is actually one of the most advanced curriculum anywhere in the world, where we are teaching our students everything from artificial intelligence to machine learning to everything that is making our students fit for the fourth industrial revolution and taking this country forward, aligned to our Prime Minister's vision of transforming this country into a developed country in 2047. Let me just come, it's just two more sentences. So at one side you have this, and then we are taking all our cultural and civilizational heritage also, we are amalgamating modernity as well as our heritage, and we are taking forward. And then these usual suspects, again the leftists mainly in Kerala, for them this is not at all agreeable, because this is actually tearing apart a narration which they have been trying to build for the last 75 years. And this is where all this intolerance is coming from. And it is not at all surprising that, let's say, the communists in Kerala are doing what they are doing, especially...
So, let me go across to Vivek Srivastav of the CPIM, who's also joining us. Vivek Srivastav, the point is that if individual states, and in this case opposition-ruled states like Kerala, are going to teach a different history to the students there, then you'll have this very odd situation where students coming from certain states will have one set of historical facts being taught to them, and another set of students will have something else being taught to them. So a student from Delhi and a student from Kerala, or a student from Mumbai and a student from Bangalore will be learning two histories. I mean, we cannot have that, which is why you had an NEP, you had a national education policy. So Vivek Srivastav, what you're essentially doing is you're teaching or you're at least paving the way to teach two histories.
You see, yes, you are right, and I do agree with you that this is something that has, I mean, a very different kind of a model that we are having. But have you ever thought of it that for the last 70-75 years, why did controversy like this never ever happened? You had VP Singh, a non-Congress government, you had Congress governments, you had Deve Gowda, you had Atal Bihari Vajpayee coming in the middle, you know, we had a left-supported UPA government at the center. However, I mean, such a wide debate, such a lot of discrepancy, such a lot of controversy, it never happened. It never happened because there was a common consensus of what this country is, what is the idea of India, what is the history and what should be taught. Minor discrepancies here and there is a different issue. Now this government is trying to be something different. The reason is they are trying to rewrite history. They are trying to create something which was not there. The RSS never fought for the freedom of this country. 1925 they were formed. Now they are trying to cook up their own heroes who don't exist. You have to understand that Akbar was as much an Indian as anyone else. So was Shah Jahan, so was Jahangir. They had Hindu wives, they had Hindu mothers. There was an amalgamation of cultures which they are not willing to accept. So Akbar has to be shown in a bad light. Bahadur Shah Zafar did fight for the independence of this country against the British. He was a unifying point. It has to be recognized. Taj Mahal is a structure which was a wonder in the world. You have to recognize it. So what is Sanskriti, what is culture has to be seen in the right realistic perspective.
No.
We studied in our
Once again,
books,
Mr. Srivastava,
unity in diversity.
the contention that the right has, and I don't know how much you heard of what Anil Antony was saying before you joined us. The contention that the right has had is that history over the last 75 years since our independence has been taught from a certain prism or a certain point of view which is left-oriented, Marxist historians and so on. But history is not always seen from and cannot be seen from an ideological prism or an ideological point of view. History is history. You have to teach it as facts. And you can't have, like I said,
I agree with
history students in Kerala are learning about one thing and history students in Delhi learning the exact opposite. So what the right is saying is they are only correcting a historic tilt that was there for the last 70 years, where history was always taught from a left-leaning / Marxist perspective.
No. I mean, we this is not the right thing to say. There was a broader consensus. Maulana Azad was the first education minister of this country. He was not a leftist. He belonged to the Congress party. And as I told you, there were many other governments that came, including Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government. But there was never a debate like this that ever happened. I mean, the point is, you are not willing to understand. I mean, by you, I mean the RSS and the BJP and the Sangh Parivar. They are not willing to accept that other cultures, other religions today are very much a part of India. They have contributed historically. They came. They are still calling Akbar an invader. They are still calling Shah Jahan an invader. They are still calling Jahangir an invader. So, I mean, this is not the right history. Yes, we had a very rich Hindu history. We had a very rich Buddhist history. We had a very rich Jain history. We also have a very rich Muslim history which contributed. We also had a very good Christian history which contributed over here. We had you had the Portuguese fight. We had the Portuguese Revolution where we finally freed the country in 1960s. So I mean everything has to be amalgamated, and that is how it was. Okay. Now if you are trying to say that no, there is only a Hindu perspective of history, only a Hindu history, only the Hindu Rajas were great, only the Hindus have contributed.
Anil Antony, respond to that. I mean, Mughal history is Mughal history. It's part of this country. I mean, so, when you view it from your prism, you're also coloring the history from a political / ideological point of view, which is exactly what you accuse the Marxist historians of doing, Anil Antony.